Hello, everyone, and welcome back, guys. We are less than a week away from the NFL season starting for the 2022-2023 season. I'm so excited, and in honor of that, we're going to do a tier list of all 32 NFL teams from S to D. We're just going to get right into it, starting off with Arizona. Personally, I have Arizona in the B tier. I think Arizona is going to have a solid season, but missing DeAndre Hopkins those first 6 games is going to really impact them. So I'm putting them in B tier. They're in a very tough division. I think they'll have a decent season. Moving on to Atlanta, I'm putting them in D tier. I really don't think they're going to have a good season. I don't like their team if they have Marcus Mariota starting, and I don't like their team if they have Desmond Ridder starting. They're young, they need a lot more development, and they just need a much better team in almost every position. They got a really good tight end. Hopefully Drake London can pan out for them, but this season, not looking great for Atlanta. Now we are moving on to Baltimore. Baltimore, for me, is also going to be a B tier team. I really debated putting them in A tier, but I'm going to put them in B tier. We also don't know if Lamar Jackson's going to play this year. He could be holding out. We know he's not getting paid right now. He's not getting the extension that Kyler Murray got, which he really, really does deserve. But I think even with Lamar Jackson, the Ravens aren't going to win more than 11, 12 games. I think that's around where I have them. I'm just going to put them in B tier because they're not going to win their division. Uh, Now we got Buffalo Bills, my first S tier team. I love the Bills this season. I think they're going to go the distance. I think they're going to win it all. Going to win 13, 14 games in the regular season. So they are definitely an S tier team for me. Now moving on to the Carolina Panthers, who are going in C tier. I like some of the pieces Carolina has, but we've never seen Baker Mayfield actually play a season with Carolina. We get to see him hopefully get some revenge on the Browns in week 1. I do think they're going to win that game because no Deshaun Watson, but really, I don't think their team in the end is all going to come together, and I think they'll be a C tier team this season. Now moving on to Chicago, who is no question a D tier team. They're going to be the worst team in the league this year. I pray for Justin Fields' health. That O line is atrocious. But I do think that the Chicago Bears have a decently bright future. They have some good young pieces in Justin Fields, Darnell Mooney. If they can hold on to Roquan Smith, I think they really need to do that. And David Montgomery. I've heard some David Montgomery trade rumors, which the Bears can't do. They need to hold on to him. But next, we got the Cincinnati Bengals, another S tier team, defending AFC champions. Were one touchdown away from being Super Bowl champions last season. I really like their team. I think they can have a 13-14 win season this year. They will win the North. Almost no doubt in my mind about that. But we'll just have to see if they have any Super Bowl hangover. I doubt they will, but there, of course, is a chance of it happening. Now we got the Cleveland Browns up next. I'm putting them in C tier right next to the Carolina Panthers. No Deshaun Watson is going to completely ruin their season. The first 11 weeks, if they walk out of there with 3 wins, I would be surprised. Like, who's gonna be the quarterback? Jacoby Brissett? Have fun, Cleveland. Like, no, I just don't like the Browns this year because of the Watson suspension. Now, next up, we got Dallas. They're a B tier team for me. They're not gonna win their division. They're gonna come in second behind Philadelphia, who we will get to soon. I think the Cowboys are going to struggle this year. They're not going to have as good as a season as they did last year. But Dallas fans shouldn't be too worried about their team. I think CeeDee Lamb's going to have a big season. Dak Prescott, he's Dak Prescott. But I do think that they might sneak into the playoffs this year, but I think they are no longer going to be NFC East champions. Now we got the Denver Broncos and Russell Wilson. They're my first A-tier team. Every team in the AFC West is so good. They're so good. Russell Wilson going into Denver, I think they'll have a successful year. They won't win their division though, but they will have a solid season. I'm putting them in A tier. Now we got the Detroit Lions, who I'm gonna put in C tier. Um, I really, really like this Lions team in their future. Aiden Hutchinson, Amon St. Brown. They got all sorts of pieces such as DeAndre Swift. I do really like their team. They just aren't there yet. They could. I see them having a 7-win season. I really do. 7-10 is definitely my record prediction for the Lions. They have a big step up from last year, and they could be back in the playoffs within the next 2-3 years. I really do see that as a possibility for the Lions. But now we got the Green Bay Packers. They are an A tier team. No longer S tier, lost Davante Adams. That's going to be a big hit. But Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers. I don't care how bad his receivers are. That offense is still going to produce. So I'm putting them in A tier. I definitely think they're going to have another solid season. Probably win the North, but they will have a lot more competition this year in the NFC North. But moving on, we got the Houston Texans, D tier. I don't really think there's much to say about them. They're not good. They're probably going to be second worst team. They might even be worse than the Bears for all we know. We'll have to see. But yeah, Texans not a very good team right there. Now we got the Indianapolis Colts, another A tier team. Big upgrade at quarterback from Carson Wentz to Matt Ryan. Jonathan Taylor is gonna have another monster season. Solid defense, great O line. I really do like the Colts this year, and their division got a lot worse over the offseason. Now we got the Jags, who I'm gonna put in D tier. I debated putting them in C tier, but I don't think they're quite there yet. Trevor Lawrence had such a bad year last season that I can't put him in C tier. Like, I don't know. Jags are gonna have a better season than they have the last 2 years. They won't be the worst team in the league, but I still think they're gonna be a D tier team. Now we got Kansas City. They are A tier. They lost Tyreek Hill, but they still have Patrick Mahomes. Very similar to the Green Bay Packers in the sense where it lost a big receiver, but the quarterback is still the quarterback, and they're still going to have a great offense. Um, so yeah, I do like the Chiefs this year, just not as much as I have in the years past. Now we got the LA Chargers, who I think are going to have a absolute monster season this year, winning 13, 14 games, just like the Bengals and Bills, winning their division. The Chargers are going to be scary this year, so the entire NFL really has to watch out for them. So, but now we're moving from one LA team to the next LA team, and both LA teams are S tier teams. Rams are also going to be an S tier team, defending Super Bowl champions. Aaron Donald, Jalen Ramsey, Cooper Kupp, Matthew Stafford. What else do you want me to say? I mean, them and the Bills, no question, have the two best rosters in the NFL. Uh, the Rams are an S tier team, no doubt about it. Now we got the Las Vegas Raiders, an A tier team, just like their other two of their other division rivals in the Chiefs and Broncos. Raiders also A tier. Um, I mean, look how good this AFC West division is. All four of the teams are at least A tier, and I could really see any of the four winning the division. um, Raiders could finish last. They could finish first. Like it's such a coin flip in this division. It's gonna really come down to who can stay the most healthy throughout the season. But I do like the Raiders this year. Added Devontae Adams. Um, their team just got a lot better. And I do think the Raiders are gonna have a great season. Now we got the Miami Dolphins up next. Adding Tyreek Hill, I'm putting them in the B tier. As long as Tua doesn't turn the ball over, then they should be a pretty solid team this year, and they could even be up to an A tier team. It all depends on how well Tua can play. This is really Tua's last chance. If he can't succeed with Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill, he's no longer gonna have a starting job in Miami. No question about that. But now moving on to Minnesota, another B tier team in my opinion. Justin Jefferson could have a Cooper Cup like season this year. Kirk Cousins is underrated. Adam Thielen, a solid defense. Uh, I debated putting the Vikings in A tier. They could take the North this season. I do think the Packers do still have a slight edge on them, but I'm expecting a solid season from the Vikings. Now we got the New England Patriots. I'm putting them in C tier. I don't like them this year. Mac Jones, yes, he was great last year, but their division got a lot better, and I don't think the Patriots are going to be able to compete nearly as well this year as they were able to last year. Now moving on to the New Orleans Saints, a B tier team who could easily move up to the A tier by the end of this season. Michael Thomas coming back, maybe. I mean, he might be back this year. He might miss the entire year again. We don't really know. They got a great defense. Um, Jameis Winston seems to be playing a lot better football than he did down in Tampa. Now that he's up in New Orleans, staying behind Drew Brees for that season seems to really have helped him. And Jameis Winston seems a lot better of a quarterback and a lot more reliable than he was down in Tampa. So I'm expecting a solid season from the Saints. They could sneak into the playoffs as a 5, 6, 7 wild card seed, something like that. But moving on to the Giants, I'm expecting a horrible season from the Giants. Daniel Jones, he will no longer be a starting quarterback in the NFL next year. Um, the team just they aren't it. You can just look at the roster top to bottom and just tell they aren't going anywhere this year. Kadarius Toney, I think, is going to be the biggest bright spot this season. But other than that, I really don't like anything about this team. Now we got the New York Jets. I'm putting them in C tier. I don't care. Um, they got a ton better in the draft. The Giants and the Jets. That is something I'll say. They had the two best drafts last season. Jets picking up Sauce Gardner in the draft. Um, and Breece Hall, I'm excited for this season. Zach Wilson, hopefully, will have a much better season this year. I'm expecting about a 6, 7 win season from the Jets. So I'm putting them in C tier there. Now we got Philadelphia. They're an A tier team. They're winning the NFC East, I think, relatively easily. I think their roster is so much better than Dallas is. They added A.J. Brown, which was big. Jalen Hurts should have a pretty solid season this year. He could break out. And I expect to see the Eagles possibly make a deep playoff run this season. And I'm excited to watch it happen. Now we got the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I'm going to put them in C tier. Mitch Trubisky or no Mitch Trubisky in starting. I don't know. Mason Rudolph or Kenny Pickett. I hope they go with Kenny Pickett, but they might go with Trubisky. I've even heard that they are considering Mason Rudolph, which I just think is flat out stupid. But I mean, I'm nervous for this team this year. I don't think they're going to be great, so I'm putting them in C tier. Now we got the Seattle Seahawks. They're a D tier team. I'm a fan of the team. I'm not excited. Drew Lock or Geno Smith, which is it's apparently going to be Geno Smith. I'm not excited for it. Seahawks have a rough season. I'm expecting a ceiling of 7 wins, but more realistically, like a 4 or 5 win season from Seattle. Now we got the San Francisco 49ers, borderline A tier, but I'm going with B tier for the Niners. Um, we don't know how Trey Lance is going to perform. That's really the bottom line. But the good news for the Niners, if he doesn't perform well, you can now rely on Jimmy Garoppolo to come in because you restructured his contract. You now have him on your roster as your backup in case Trey Lance has struggles. So I do expect to see the Niners in the playoffs this season. Now we got Tampa Bay. I'm putting them in A tier. Tom Brady. Uh, he's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. He's going to lead his team to the playoffs. No question about that. The rest of the roster is very, very, very good. But my concern with Tampa is their future. Their players are just getting old. We don't know how many years that Tampa is going to have left. An opportunity for a Super Bowl. So they're running out of time, but I think they're gonna have a great season this year. Now we got the Tennessee Titans. I'm putting them in B tier. They lost A.J. Brown. That is really rough, but they still have King Henry and a decent quarterback in Ryan Tannehill. So I'll put them in B tier. I think they will be solid this year, but they could easily miss the playoffs. Now finally, we're ending off with Washington, and this is kind of my I guess you could say hottest take this year. I think they're going to be absolutely awful this year. I think they're going to be horrid. I mean, they lost Chase Young for a good amount of the season, if not all the whole season. We'll have to see how long he'll be out for. But I don't believe in this team at all. Carson Wentz, I don't like him. Uh, the running back they just drafted got shot and is in the hospital right now. So they're going to Antonio Gibson to start the season, who I like, but I don't like this Washington team really. But yeah, this is my list of all 32 NFL teams in a tier list. Let me know what you think of them down in the comments down below. But yeah, if you like this video, make sure to like, subscribe. I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.